Tiger is a gift.
All right, sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
Hey, how's everyone doing out there? Welcome to a Word Home Media presentation of Sox Talk.
I'm Ryan. This is Major League A-Hole Sox Talk. We are recording episode 18 for the first time in weeks. Spring training has begun, so we've got plenty of thoughts about what has occurred already in this short week of spring training.
It's amazing what's going on in Sox.
People are panicking. It's hilarious over all the new rules.
Oh God.
Oh my God, baseball is ruined.
Oh my God.
It appears that the White Sox have gone to war with the Chicago media. We've got a couple examples of little tiff between local media and a couple of White Sox we'll talk about. Elvis is back in the building. That might be the best news you've received all spring.
As I'll talk about it when we talk.
Yeah, we'll get there. I've got an ASKHOLE question probably to wrap up the show, and we'll go from there. I just want to, for anyone that's new to the show, as we're kicking off our 2023 season, Pete over there is a lifelong White Sox fan. If you're watching our YouTube video or on Facebook, you will notice I am decidedly not a White Sox fan, as I'm wearing my Tigers cap and a World Championship Cubs sweatshirt.
It's like a clown show over there.
I'm trying my best. I am a Cubs and Tigers fan, obviously, but I'm trying not to be a hater. I'm basically here to be devil's advocate. I want to make sure Pete over there doesn't get too far over his skis. Doesn't say anything too crazy. Isn't drinking the Kool-Aid too much for your Chicago White Sox. So.
I'm just having a Coke Zero, dude. Right.
Oh wow, I'm drinking a beer. I thought that looked like a Surly Furious. Actually, it's the same color can.
Yeah, no, it's a Coke Zero.
Well, that's what I'm drinking over here is the Surly Furious.
Yeah.
So.
A delicious beer.
Yes. So I guess we should go ahead and jump into the news.
Yeah. So I think we'll start out with something I find fucking hilarious, and that's the fact that in the early spring training coverage of what's going on at White Sox camp, there is a lot of praise for Pedro Grifol and his staff for doing pop-up drills and drills of teaching the players how to react when someone is calling for the ball.
I've heard this. This has become news.
Going from first to third. It's a crazy concept with you wouldn't think would be crazy with the White Sox from years past, because they have actually pretty decent speed overall up and down the lineup. And you wouldn't think that was an issue, but these are simple baseball concepts that I know when I go to Charlie's practices are covered every week for a 12-year-old in travel baseball. But apparently, between the Robin Ventura era and the Tony La Russa era, they were not covered. These were simple drills that
novel idea. They
just assumed, these, and I get it. You're a Major League Baseball player. You know what to do, but you know what? I think I played in a band for over 10 years, and we had like 15 original songs, and we played over and over again, right? But you know what? The only times we were ever like really, really solid and great was when we practice on a regular basis, because it just becomes muscle memory then. And the fact that we've had 5 years of managers that was there some, and Rick Renteria, I forgot to put Ricky in there too, that we've had 7 years of managers, let me redo that have failed to do simple exercises to create what should be a pretty simple game, make it even simpler for these guys, is I can't even, it blows my mind.
Well, we've seen the results in the field, but it's a novel idea if all the beat reporters are talking about what a different spring training this has already looked like.
Yes,
that they're actually practicing this shit. So I mean, it's it's a positive, I guess, but it's just ridiculous that it's actually, this is like a news bulletin. Sox are practicing fundamentals.
Exactly. This is almost like a shit you could make up portion of the show that the Sox are getting media coverage for doing fundamentals.
They're being praised for it.
they're being praised. And to your point earlier before we got on the air, Smitty, there's a fundamental section in the ballpark.
Yeah, the kids zone
at the range
left field.
There is a fundamental section, yet the Sox never practiced it for the last 7 years.
They failed to visit it themselves.
They never made it.
I do remember one time I was like walking. Is that 200 level? How you get to that? I think it is.
You can get in, on all the levels, but
I think Vit and I were just sort of walking around. Just I had never seen fundamentals before, and like there was a security guard like, you can't come in here without a child. So like, oh, sorry, I had no idea. But maybe that's been the problem. They weren't letting any of the Sox players into fundamentals due to their restrictive policies.
I'm Eloy Jimenez. Sure you are. You don't have a kid.
They were kind of. It was. I felt. I had no idea what the rules were. I guess it makes sense. It's a kids area, but they were kind of militant about it. I was like, "Geez, sorry, I had no idea." I was just walking around your luxurious 200 level, stumbled into this area.
Yeah, you walk right into it on that level. Yeah, that's you were in the fancy level that day, huh?
That's how I Sox.
You were living large.
When I go to Sox games, I live large.
But yeah, so I could care less about spring training results, to be honest. Maybe the last week I kind of like care a little bit more when you get the real starting lineup out there a few times, and then you have those like warm-up games that are out of Arizona and at another ballpark or whatever. But I mean, so far they've been scoring runs and hitting home runs, and it's all good signs. But I mean, it all means nothing. So
yeah, I mean, it just is watching a couple innings of Tigers and Cubs games. I'm fired up to see any power. So if you're seeing some home runs getting out, it doesn't mean that much, but it's better than not seeing.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, we're only a couple games in, so I think you'll know more in a few weeks for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I get excited when the phone goes off and the alert is like Tim Anderson singles to center and Elvis Andrus scores from first. Now that,
oh wow,
or like stuff like that. Like
I'm impressed that you're getting spring training alerts.
Oh yeah, I always have the alerts turned on.
Alerts.
Yeah, in-game updates for the Sox and Giants.
Oh, okay. You're serious.
I am serious. So when you see like starter combo names come up, that to me is like a decent sign. But
sure,
whatever. I mean, Lance Lynn looked pretty. He looked really good on his 3-inning outing to kick off the season. But one thing that is really shitty in regards to spring training and the White Sox is, unlike the Cubs, who have their own network in Marquee, Comcast Sportsnet philosophy is we're only showing 6 or 7 spring training games because we want to build up the excitement of the season. And I mean,
yeah, I mean, you can get them on the radio, I guess, but
you can also get them. MLB doesn't black out any spring training games, so if if Comcast isn't televising it, but the other team is,
you can find
it. You can sometimes find it. So it'll be more than that.
MLB Network has been doing showcase games. Tigers run over the weekend. Right now, I think it's the Yankees and Astros or something.
But it is
Nationals.
It would be nice if, like, for White Sox fans, if they got a little bit more. And of course, whether they want it or not, they're of course complaining about it. So
yeah,
it's a miserable.
That's fun.
It's a miserable fan base. So,
well, spring training kicked off in kind of an awkward fashion, of course, with the arrival of Mike Clevinger, who we've spoken about in previous episodes. The controversy surrounding him. He took it to the next level after 670 The Score interviewed his, I guess,
Accuser.
ex-girlfriend / accuser, baby mama. They put her on the Parkins and Spiegel show, and she is not afraid to speak her mind, which is great to get her side of the story and get more information about this really disturbing story in general. But Mike Clevinger was not too happy about it and threatened to sue the radio network for putting her on the air. And I'm not sure he understands how lawsuits work or how libel or slander cases work, or what grounds upon which he'd be suing the network, the radio station, for interviewing a woman. Seems rather naive and ridiculous that he was pissed off about it. And I mean, obviously he was not serious, but I mean, he did mention his lawyers might be involved, or however he phrased it. But I thought that was ridiculous. It sucks that the situation's happening at all. You know, just as we predicted, it's been awkward. I mean, Rick Hahn had to have an awkward conversation with media as Clevinger arrived to spring training. It has to be addressed. It can't be swept under the rug. The question is, the only way this gets resolved is when Major League Baseball makes their decision on whether he needs to be suspended or not, or whether he's completely exonerated. And we have no idea when that time is coming. It's crazy that spring training has started already. We have no idea. So this awkwardness and this horrible story is going to linger until they decide one way or the other on this. So, have you heard anything about like when this could actually be resolved?
No, but
it just doesn't seem fair to the Sox to do this.
There were comments made that by Pedro Grifol that from what he's heard, he doesn't believe it's going to be an issue going forward. Now, I don't know what that means, and I don't know what he's heard from who, or maybe he was just trying to get the,
if he just decides it's not an issue. I mean, people have the right to decide on their own if they think it's an issue that he
meaning that he's going to be exonerated, and it's not. It was in reference to him being suspended. I mean, here's the deal. I don't agree with the Score putting her on the air. I think it was reckless. Because it's
news. I mean, it's
news that
it's entertainment also.
You don't know. She could be fucking crazy for all we know. And there's only one news source.
So could Mike Clevinger.
I know, right? He probably
put him on the air.
Well, I mean, they asked the question, so he didn't even want to deal with it. He's like, I guess you guys have to ask this, and here's what I'll say, and that's it. But and the story's strange. The only outlet that reported there was a police report filed is the Washington Post. When the White Sox did the background check, it's not in there. There is no police report in his background check.
Right, but the news story of this is that MLB is investigating, and
only because she called them.
Well, and again, I mean, it's not. We kind of debated this whole thing before, but I just think it's ridiculous to expect the Score not to try. They have no responsibility to the White Sox or to Mike Clevinger. They want listeners, and if they think they can get people to listen to their radio shows by interviewing different people for whatever reason, they're going to do it. There's no legal reason that she couldn't be.
I don't think there's no legal reason, because there's no legal case, which is baffling. There's nothing legal about this case.
Right.
That is why would you put someone on the air who hasn't filed anything in a legal?
I just told you, because people want to listen.
I know,
people
but
want to hear what she has to say.
In a legal fashion, you're just.
Well, this isn't like you said. It's not a legal thing. He made it a legal thing by threatening a lawsuit.
Well, yeah, that's just stupid. I agree with that.
Thank you. That was my whole point of bringing this up. It's just stupid.
But but like I made a post about this and I got lit up on Twitter, and I'm just like, I think we should just all pause for a second, and if he's guilty, then he's guilty and he's found guilty, and that's it. But this case is for people to be comparing it to the Trevor Bauer situation.
Yeah, we went over this part of that last episode.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
the new part of it was the score getting involved. So
yeah,
that's all I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I get it. I just think it was like, it definitely was sensationalism, and that is truly why they did it. So
yeah, the other thing I saw a lot on that is like people are criticizing journalism in general. Like a sports talk radio station is not journalism. I mean, the Parkins and Spiegel show is an entertaining thing, but it is in no way journalism. I think people get that confused all the time, which I agree. Hilarious, so.
I agree. I mean, shit, was it Mike North didn't even have a freaking degree in broadcasting or anything, and got on the air because he was entertaining enough and people liked his opinions or hated his opinions, but he brought in listenership at that time. So
I mean, you could say that about podcasting. I mean,
true.
We have no credentials.
I'm not pretending. Other than when I'm undercover deep throat or whatever we call that, that's the only time I'm truly a journalist.
The only credentials that Parkins and Spiegel have, or any radio host has, is they're good enough at their jobs that people want to pay them to do it.
Yeah, so true. Yeah,
they don't have to have a license or anything like that. So unfortunately, you and I are nowhere close to being good enough to have people want to pay us to do that. We're happy to have a handful of people listen to us from time to time. So
if anyone should want to, we'll be happy to put your name up and talk about you on the air. If
we are looking for sponsorship, as you may or may not have noticed, that we're not going to speak about. But
yes.
The other interesting Chicago White Sox versus the local media incident occurred between the typically good buddies Tim Anderson and Chuck Garfien, post-game host on NBC Chicago, host of the White Sox Talk podcast. Probably the biggest White Sox slappy I've run across. I've called him a meathead. He is the White Sox equivalent of David Kaplan on the North Side, he left NBC, which is fantastic because I never hear, and I don't listen to ESPN 1000 in the morning anymore. So I never have to hear about David Kaplan anymore.
Oh, he's off of Comcast?
Yeah, I forget what he went to do, but I know he's not doing the Cubs Talk podcast anymore, which is neither is Gordon Whitmire, which is so awesome to have those fuckers gone. But I just I was amused to hear that Chuck and TA got into a bit of a tiff, where Chuck was definitely mystified that TA called him out for not being as supportive as he needed to be for their White Sox over there. So I'm assuming you saw this. I was wondering what your thoughts were on it.
I mean, I think I think it's all hilarious. Let me just start off by saying that. I will tell you that religiously watching the pregame and postgame, and especially the postgame after
postgame is, especially last year, was incredible.
It was really hard sometimes. There were
mainly
times
Ozzy.
There were times where Ozzy was Ozzy was hilarious most of the time, but Chuck like and then they do like the fourth inning and the seventh inning visit, and there were just times where I was just like, dude, like, just get over it, right? But like TA as a whole, like, the shit was bad last year, dude. I mean, I get like the idea of like everyone should be supportive, but everyone has a right. If I'm paying $60 a ticket to walk into the ballpark and the product on the field isn't what it's supposed to be, I've got a right to voice my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm not supporting the team,
right?
But I mean,
I can see why TA wouldn't be happy about that, but I feel like he's being really naive and not really understanding what media is supposed to be there for. I mean, and especially it is a little bit. I mean, again, we're getting into realms of journalism or media responsibilities, but this is the White Sox post-game show or in-game show, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that they just are the corporate mouthpiece for the organization. They're there to express their opinions. They're there as an interface between the fans and the team. And I don't think anyone who was paying attention last year had anything different than the frustration that Chuck Garfien expressed throughout the season. So it was odd. I think they're really close, actually, or fairly close for how much a post-game show host and an athlete could be. I think they've had a good relationship over the years. So I think TA was kind of fucking with them a little bit, but it did feel like I don't know, naive, I guess was the term that kept coming up in my head, that he would expect, people to, no matter what happens with the White Sox in, you call it the most disappointing season of your life, considering the expectations and the ending results, you're going to have to be ready for some criticism. And it felt strange, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of, and this is a little bit different situation, but in 2004, I believe, at the end of that season,
the Cubs,
Steve Stone and Chip Carey were very critical during the broadcasts of the games in the booth, and were summarily released from their duties.
Exactly.
And that is why Steve Stone is now on the south side of Chicago calling games for your Chicago White Sox. So that's a little bit apples and oranges, but I
thought the same thing when I heard it.
I thought that situation was ridiculous. That's also back when the Cubs were still owned by the Tribune Company. So it was definitely a corporate entity that had no sense of humor whatsoever.
No, definitely not.
Faceless corporate monolith that did not want to hear any criticism coming from anywhere, even though that was one of the most disappointing Cubs seasons that I could remember after the devastation. But the rise of the Cubs in 2003, how it ended, absolutely sucked, but they were supposed to be awesome in 2004.
There was no reason not to be,
Yeah, and they struggled. They were okay, and then they fell off the face of the earth in the last week of the season, and that was the famous Sammy Sosa boombox incident. And he actually left the final game of the season, which I was in attendance. He left the game early and was never seen on the north side again, and he still isn't to this day. So I don't know. I don't think the TA Chuck Garfien incident goes nearly to that level, but it's just interesting that I'm just pairing those two events together, that it feels like the White Sox are angry and now they're taking it out on the Chicago media.
Yeah, hopefully they just take it out on their opponents and then everyone will shut up. I mean, let's be honest.
Well-directed anger.
Yeah, let's be honest. Go out and do what you're supposed to do, and you won't hear anyone bitching. I mean, it's so funny because did you read in The Athletic, Jim Bowden did his assessment and what he thinks how the season's going to go.
I have issues with Jim Bowden, but yes, I love The Athletic. So
yeah, but he had the Sox. He started the AL Central with the Sox, saying they could easily win the division because they are the most talented team. He's like, but we've
been
staying healthy
for how many years?
He's like staying healthy.
Yeah.
And extracting basically all that talent is the question. So they could finish anywhere from 1 to 3rd. And that is kind of like, in a way, I kind of feel the same way, right? If everything we thought was going to happen last year should somehow fall into place this year, then I think they, do win the division. Am I optimistic that that's going to happen? I'm not. Well, it's very it's going to be a slow rise. You know how we were talking beforehand. You're like, I'm just not terribly excited to talk about my teams, but I will as the season goes on, and if they get momentum in that, I'm excited. I'm excited for the baseball season, but
you had a horrible season last year. You've had nothing to really cheer about this off season. I mean, you had
we didn't
closer.
have anything.
Yeah, your closer has cancer, and he was out on the field this weekend. I saw, which was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
really cool to see. You've got the Mike Clevinger incident. You didn't have Sox Fest. Like, what do you have? You have Pedro Grifol, some dude from the fucking Royals taking over. What do you have to be fired up about? So I don't think you should. Don't question your loyalty to your team.
I'm not questioning.
They have given you nothing to cheer about over this offseason. So,
well, you're wrong. They had given us nothing to cheer about. And
did you see how I set you up like that? Like
I know.
Professional.
And then the second base situation was solved.
Woo!
With
solved.
The I
king.
mean, this is like the signing. This is like signing essentially the Aaron Judge of second base. We signed Elvis Andrus.
Elvis is back in the building.
Elvis is back.
How many times have you heard that joke, by the way, for the last 2 weeks?
I know.
Sorry, I had to repeat it.
Thank you. Elvis is back, but I do have to say, as much as like it's not the wow move, to me, it is a smart move, which what was left out there, and it solidifies the infield.
I think
it leaves less of a question mark there.
I think I replied to one of your tweets. Like, this is the first sensible thing you've done all offseason. Congratulations.
I mean, I moved the off season from an F to an A now with this signing. No, I'm kidding. Wow. I'm kidding. D+. We move up to a D+. But I mean, honestly, I couldn't believe his fucking power numbers for that. He had 9 home runs with the White Sox in that freaking short span. I don't think we're going to see that.
43 games. I know. 43 games, 9 home runs.
I couldn't believe it. I went and looked it up myself because I thought they were wrong in the article. Like, there's no way that
and it wasn't just the home runs. It was the energy. It was doing the little things. It was the leadership. It was an incredible thing that I thought it was going to take you into the playoffs somehow, but that, of course, that fizzled out for whatever reasons. But
well, because there was a creepy old man just lurking in the shadows the entire time.
A very sickly old man, apparently, too.
Yes.
So.
But go ahead.
Well, it's just interesting that I felt so positive for you guys about that. You guys feel positive about it, but I've got to play devil's advocate here. I mean, he is a 34-year-old career shortstop playing second base for the first time in his life.
I know.
I was listening to it. He was just on the White Sox Talk podcast today with Chuck Garfien. And I didn't realize that he had never played second base. He was talking about that. It's just weird is how he was describing it, which I don't have any doubts he'll be able to figure it out. I think it'll be fine, but he is learning a new position, which is kind of odd to think about as a 34-year-old. Also his age, he is 34. Is there any, and I think you've already alluded to this, but is there any way you think he can live up to what he did in those 43 games as a White Sox that you saw?
Let me tell you, if he does, it's going to be a party on the South Side.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd be happy with 75% of what he is, what you saw. But we saw the best Elvis Andrus that anyone's ever seen, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm not sure he's ever put 43 games together like that in his career. So I think you should definitely be positive about this, but I think you are being measured with it as well. But it's it's kind of crazy how something as small, as relatively small as that can feel like such a huge positive for the White Sox in this. I think it speaks to how shitty this offseason has been.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the Benintendi signing, I mean, there wasn't.
I haven't heard his name since he's been signed. I
think he has barely played so far in the preseason, but
trying to keep him healthy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think maybe they're worried he's going to catch the health bug that everyone seems to get when they come to the White Sox.
Yeah, why wouldn't they be worried about that?
But just when you were asking like what's my expectation, or you'd be happy with 75%, I'll tell you what I'll be happy with. He's gonna bat out of the 9 hole, so it's not like I'd be happy if he got on base in front of the top of the order on a
Mm.
consistent basis. No matter, I don't care if it's a fucking walk, bunt, whatever, automatic walk because the pitcher didn't throw the ball in time. I'll take whatever. But he gets him and he adjusts to second and really solidifies the infield defense.
Yeah,
The question was out when Trevor Story moved to second. He played a pretty solid second base for Boston last year. I mean, I think it can be done.
as a 27-year-old.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's you bring up the defense. I hadn't really considered that, but like the double play combination, like everything is backwards for him. He's done it his whole life from TA side of second base. So
yeah,
I think he can get there, but I'd be surprised if they're like a solid defense up the middle to start the season. I think it's going to take some time to work out the kinks. Plus, with no shifts anymore, I think the whole middle of every defense is going to be interesting to watch across Major League Baseball, but it's certainly on the south side.
Yeah, I mean, he said he has turned a double play from the second base side because of shifts.
That's more than I've done.
Yeah, right. I know, me too. So he's not a handful of times, but he's played over there and he's got a little bit. But I mean, I don't know. I just feel like if you're athletic enough and he's a veteran. I think his adjustment is better than moving Eloy Jimenez to right field.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
So
I think I would just say he'll eventually be more than serviceable. I think it'd be unrealistic to think that he's going to be one of the top defensive second basemen. Or early in the season, like how he can make that transition. I think
we'll see. I
think it's going to be an issue, not a major issue, but I think there will be a talking point at least.
Yeah, we'll see. I agree. I think there'll be some growing pains, so to speak, at second. Yeah. But we got a clean slate, baby. So see what happens.
His leadership and everything else that he's clearly brought. Had clearly brought and will continue to bring in the clubhouse is a big deal. So it might be as big a deal as anything other than keeping Lurie Garcia out of your lineup somehow.
Thank God.
Well, I wanted to ask about your general thoughts about spring training so far. We're almost a week into it. Is it a week or is it just a weekend? When did it start?
Yeah, I think it started. We're about a weekend now. I think it started last Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the most notable issue or most notable thing to at least talk about is the pitch clock.
Oh God.
That is a radical change that I know I was looking forward to. You and I spoke about it all season long last year, anticipating it. I think you were open-minded to it as well. I think it's awesome. It cuts out all the downtime. It cuts out all the bullshit. It cuts out pitchers adjusting their crotch, stomping around the mound. It cuts out everything that nobody is there to see. No one's paying to watch anyone stand around and look at each other. It gets to the fucking point. That's what I like about it so far. Over analyzing how it's going to affect the game, I think is foolish at this point. Based on the results of these first spring training games. Of course, the famous Red Sox Braves game that ended on a pitch clock violation by the batter, which I thought it was educational in a way. People obviously overreacted to it. Anyone that didn't like the idea of the pitch clock used it as a reason to ditch it immediately after like one day. I learned that the batter has to be engaged, I think is the term they use, with the pitcher. He has to be looking at the pitcher. He doesn't just have to be in the box with 8 seconds to go. He has to be looking at him. And I didn't realize that. And apparently whoever the fuck it was for the Braves didn't realize that either because, the game ended in a tie, but
right.
He had the bases loaded and didn't get his chance because he wasn't paying attention. But what I think is going to happen is that was almost the perfect thing to happen that early in spring training because everyone is on notice now. You have to know that rule. You have to be engaged or you might cost your team dearly. And for it to happen in the least critical situation in a early spring training game is a perfect way to get that started. I just thought it was hilarious how people were overreacting to it at the same time.
Yeah, everything you said, I agree with 100% that you should have by making this call in spring training, that umpire basically should have mitigated it for the entire regular season. We should not even this should never happen in a game now.
Yeah.
Should never happen.
I think we're going to see even this next week of Washington spring training games, it's going to happen less. I mean, there's still weird things going with that, but in general, I think people are starting to embrace it. I'm sure players are complaining about it, but those are the fucking rules. So get used to it.
I got to say, the first time I saw it, I was just like, holy fucking shit. Like, this is great.
This is like 1970.
Exactly. It's like when you watch the freaking Natural or something and the pitcher's just up there or 8 men out. Like, they would just like get the ball and throw it. Like, and it was like, it's basically no fucking around now.
Yeah. Games are a half hour shorter already.
Holy shit. Yeah. I remember the first Sox game clocked in at like 2:08 or something.
That's like a Burley game. I mean,
I know.
How much fun did everyone always say they had when they're at a Burley game or watching a Burley game? Because
I know
right around 2 hours because he didn't fuck around. So
I wonder how many fights at the ballpark are going to go down now.
Yeah, there should be less. There should be less drinking. There's not enough time to get so schnocker.
Are people gonna up the pregame now because of this quick game?
They have to. I did see a thing. I get emails from the White Sox all the time. It's crazy how many fucking emails I get from you guys. But they're selling like a private tailgate party. I don't know if you saw that email.
No, I did not.
I was trying to figure out what is you get.
Oh, there is
an area.
There's an
near
area.
The parking lot?
Yeah, the entrance where you go into the bar, directly into the bar, like gate 2 or whatever.
Okay.
What is that?
You mean the bullpen bar?
Yeah, the bullpen sports bar or the craft cave. The craft cave. Yeah,
I remember we were in line for that one time.
Yeah, the gate 2 over there. There is a private tailgate area.
Oh, you can pay for the privilege to get in that.
You can pay for the privilege to be behind a fence. A chain link fence.
No, but sometimes you need that to get away from the riffraff ballpark.
Oh, easy. Yeah, I think the pitch clock is great.
The bigger bases look hilarious, but I don't think we're going to see much of a difference with stolen bases in the spring training.
No, I think if your team runs, and I think people who believe in it and don't.
They might not want to show that very much. Certainly, risking injury in spring training. Yeah. They're probably not going to run very much anyway. But
true.
I think strategically, you might not want to show how much you may or may not be running to start the season. So I don't think we're going to see much of that. Of course, you have to make fun of how the bases look, the pizza boxes. I've made my own Photoshop jokes with a Lou Malnati's bag on the bases.
I did see that. That was good.
Yeah, a lot of people like that for some reason. But I do love Lou Malnati's. I haven't had that in quite a while. Living in Michigan for the last 3 years. So
have Callahan get you some.
Well, that's the thing. I'm back in the Chicago suburbs this weekend, so maybe we will be partaking in some Lou Malnati's.
Ooh.
The other big story of spring training so far, of course, was the umpires. I saw a headline that umpires refused to finish a game between the Pirates and Baltimore Orioles.
I mean, I think the game was
over. The other the two managers agreed to continue it because they just wanted to keep working through the bottom half of the inning, even though it had ended 7-4. So the idea that the umpires just walked out during a game is ludicrous. So I guess a lesson out there, another journalist, crusty old journalism major here. Beware of headlines. It says that's only gotten worse in this internet age. Nobody walked out at a game. I think it's fun to rip on the umpires, but I haven't read too much about it. I don't know. You might know more about it than I do, other than the headlines, but you think about, there might be union reasons why they, after a game is completed, they cannot be out there any longer for, if somebody got hurt or whatever, they can't be responsible. But I thought it was funny. I feel like that is the second biggest story of spring training almost.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the full what the rules are. I do know in spring training, though, I have seen before. Well, I don't think I've ever seen anyone say, let's keep the game going. I've seen the managers agree to end after 7 innings.
That I've seen for
and,
sure.
And things like that, but I've never, I don't
going,
recall.
Kids.
Yeah, like, hey, let's just play the bottom half to get some more work.
I like that they do that. I think that's cool that they did that. And the coolest part is they just had a catcher out there calling balls and strikes.
Because it doesn't, and everyone out there listening, if there was ever, if you wanted any proof that spring training doesn't matter, there it is.
Yeah.
They continued to play without umpires on the field, and everything went just fine.
It was great. It was a fun time for all. Gave us a chance to rip on the umpires one more time unfairly, but that was great.
Yeah, and I think my second favorite thing in the new rules is not having the shift, because I think I think there's several players who are gonna
a lot of lefties out there
annoy the living shit out of pitchers this year, and it's gonna be fucking annoying. And I think the first video I saw was who went to Atlanta from Oakland? Olsen.
Catcher?
No, Olsen, right? Olsen's a lefty, right?
Sean Murphy went there too, I think.
Yeah, but Olsen's a lefty, right?
Yeah. Ooh, boy.
Or who's their other big bopper who had an off year last year?
It's Chapman was.
Oh, Chapman, yeah, Chapman.
He went to Toronto.
Yeah, okay, so that's what it was. They showed the video of Chapman last year, like having the same hit that was an out because of the shift, and then they showed the video that just happened, and I was fucking dying. I'm like, Yasmani Grandel's gonna bat like 280 this year, because he's gonna every play where he puts the ball is going to just be fucking feel like a fucking canyon for some of these guys this year.
Yeah, it's going to look different. I think it's going to take some time. Obviously, I don't think we're going to see big differences again in this spring training. I think it's going to take quite some time to see what the real effect is. But God, you'd think lefties would be rejoicing and would have immediate better numbers than they've had for the last 10 or so years. So
I think any pull hitter, you know what I mean? Like either side of the field, because you're just
That's
it's
true.
just not going to be
shift.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm also curious to see how savvy managers or crafty managers figure out ways to make a de facto shift or optimize what they can do within the rules.
I mean, I think
we might see some weird like outfield alignments, but I'd rather see that than seeing 5 guys on the other side of second base.
Yeah, I think the only thing that could happen is someone could start to run over, right?
I forget the rule. You have to be
after
when the pitch is released. You have to be on opposite sides of second base, or two players in the dirt on opposite sides of second base. So I don't think you can be sprinting like you time it just right, like Canadian football, where they can run at the line of scrimmage, but you have to time it perfectly.
Yeah, it's
maybe that's what we'll see eventually.
Yeah, we're gonna see someone like a starting line at the starting line of a race. His foot is just on the other side of second, and he's watching, and then also the second baseman is getting ready to run to cover the
starting blocks.
Yeah. And that could be.
I just made a Canadian football reference. So
I know.
It's got to be a first and hopefully last time on any podcast.
I just kept going.
Sorry about that. Well, the only thing we haven't talked about, I think, unless you can think of other things, but
I'm good.
World Baseball Classic is coming up.
Yeah.
And it is actually the subject of my ASKHOLE question of the week.
Yeah, I know where this is already going.
What the fuck are the White Sox doing letting any of your players play in this meaningless World Baseball Classic? Tim Anderson is playing for the U.S.
Yes.
Who coming off an injury-plagued season. Lance Lynn, coming off an injury, is playing for the U.S.
Yes.
Eloy Jimenez, a walking injury waiting to happen, is playing in these meaningless games for the Dominican Republic. Luis Robert Jr.
Jr. Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, that's enough talking about that. Is playing for Cuba, who hasn't played even 200 games in his major league career. I'm not even sure if what that number is. He has played an appalling few numbers of games.
I think he's played more than Fernando Tatis, though. That's what's hilarious.
Yeah, that's quite possible, actually. Yohan Moncada's playing.
He's never injured.
Yeah. I mean, these are all of your first of all, the most critical players to your season.
Yeah.
The stars of your team that you are counting on to make this happen.
I don't understand.
And also all with a history of major injuries throughout their career.
What?
So why are they playing these meaningless games? How could Rick Hahn let this happen? How can Jerry Reinsdorf not step in, who is paying their salaries, and say, I don't think so, guys. We've seen some issues here. Why would we tempt fate and play these meaningless games out of our control, where they have different coaches? There is more, at least in the players' minds, national pride. We'll be going full out in these games. We've seen them before. How can the White Sox allow this to happen?
Could you repeat the question? I'm not sure on what you're asking. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to be one of the easier.
You have to be. This is an ASKHOLE segment.
Well, I
know.
You must
be
be
honest.
I know, and this is going to be one of the easier ones. I agree with you 100%.
Wow.
When I read it, I was like, I wasn't like, TA doesn't have a ton of injury history, but he has a little more recently. Yeah. So I wasn't so alarmed by TA, but when I saw Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, I was like,
oh my God.
Are you fucking kidding me? The fact that Eloy has pretty much injured himself every year in spring training, pretty much, and you're sending them into
a rushed spring training to get ready for these games,
right? And then putting them at competitive level prematurely.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't. Outside of a story popping that it's written in their contract that they have to be allowed to play with, which I guess there's nothing there's nothing you can do. But I'm saying outside of that, there's no excuse for not sitting them down and saying, guys, let me ask you a question. Is your goal to win a world championship with the White Sox? Yes. Then we're going to ask you not to play in this.
Well, I don't even think you need to ask
Thanks.
them.
Thanks.
You're paying their salary. They're employees of the fucking White Sox. And I haven't seen many cases where teams have stepped in and say, fuck you, you're not playing.
No, there really hasn't been. But still.
The other side of it is you want to have a good relationship with your players. You want to just tell them what they can and can't do. They're grown men. They have, national pride. They want to play for their teams. I'm looking forward to the World Baseball Classic because it's actually more interesting than spring training games because there's a little bit of something on the line, and it's cool seeing players you don't normally see play together do so. So I'm a little bit hypocritical on this subject because I like it, but specifically for the White Sox coming off this most disappointing season ever, mainly because of injuries. I just don't understand how this could possibly be allowed to happen. The other issue is, let's say by some miracle, there are no injury issues throughout the World Baseball Classic. That would be fantastic. And it can happen. It's possible. I don't think it'd be crazy to think that no one would get hurt in this whole thing, but somebody does, obviously everyone's going to be up in arms. But the other thing you have to ask is, what do these extra games mean? Extra playing 100% games.
Yeah, exactly.
Adding to the number of games in a season, essentially, that these players are trying to do in the 162 game grind. You're adding 20. How many? I don't know how many games they could possibly play if they make it to the final round. But it's close to 20, I think. That is a significant addition to the wear and tear that you're putting on all these players. Does the season, by some miracle, that war of attrition, that wear and tear doesn't affect any of your players throughout the regular season? Then you get to the playoffs and somebody gets injured because they're approaching 200 games played. it's unbelievable this is happening, that specifically the names on your White Sox that I brought up at the beginning of this too long of a segment now, but just those particular players coming off injuries specifically and being the key to your 2023 season. All of them are.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do without any of them and hope to approach, where you want to be this season. It's just an unbelievable confluence of events that I can't believe Rick Hahn and Jerry Reinsdorf are allowing to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, it's sort of the Sox are under a magnifying glass because of last season.
Yeah,
but I think some other teams probably should have told their players no too. But but like whatever. I
don't know what those situations are, but yeah, specifically the Whites. And this is a White Sox podcast right now, so that's why I could do similar rants for the other teams we talk about in the whole. But yeah, I just think this is going to be a story that lingers. It's something that's happening in spring training, but it's something that's going to be brought up throughout the season if there are issues down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how many games it actually is.
It's not a ton, but
it's like probably
I think if you make it to the final round, it adds up to a lot. Which you would think, the Dominican would be involved, Puerto Rico, Cuba might be involved. US is usually in the final four of this.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're looking at 1, 2, 3,
counting
about
in the
six games.
To get to the knockout stage, right?
No, to get to the
it's a round robin, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think. Anyway, we'll. I think more.
Well, the World Baseball Classic starts on Friday, I think. So we'll break down the World Baseball Classic a little bit more in the next episode of Sox Type of Thing, and we'll know more about it. We should have done this research before the show, but it's okay. We can put this off till next week if you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be too many games, to be honest.
One too many is enough.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right.
Unless you had anything else, I think we can wrap this episode 18 of Sox Type Thing up.
Well, let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, you can find Pete over there on social media at Sox Type Thing. You can find me playing devil's advocate and having sarcastic comments about my rebuilding Detroit Tigers and whatever the fuck the Cubs are doing right now. You can find me at Major League A-Holes. You can find us on the web at soxtypething.com and majorleagueaholes.com. We're on YouTube. What are we on? YouTube, Instagram. What are these icons here in front of me? Facebook. Oh, I forgot about Facebook. We need to get back on Facebook. And you can find this podcast anywhere you'd like to find a podcast. So with that, I think you can declare
this podcast is over. Peace.
Peace.
Word Hole Media.